Welcome back, YouTube! It's Coding Companion, and today, we're gonna talk about dependencies. Yes, dependencies. Okay, so, in the perfect world, in the ideal world, there would be one browser, right? And there would be one computer, right? Maybe it's like a hybrid of all the best computers we have today. And in the perfect world, the one computer with the one browser is what everybody uses. And it's what everybody codes for. Okay? See the problem there? Now let's backtrack. Let's go to the real world. In the real world, we have, unfortunately, Internet Explorer. We have Google Chrome. We have flavors of Chrome. Even within Chrome, we have Chromium. We have other things going on that I'm sure I'm forgetting. We have Firefox. We have Opera. And not only that, but the devices that these browsers run on, your phone, your laptop, your desktop computer, the ATM, the embedded device at the pizza place you use to unlock an oven and grab your pizza, like all those things, they're not created equally. They have different components, different dimensions to the screen, as I'm sure you know. And all of this affects the code that you write. So, in here we have some HTML, some CSS, some JavaScript. Knowing this, knowing that there's different browsers, and knowing that there's different companies and vendors that create all these different applications, understandably so, we would expect there to not be, they might not necessarily all be at the same pace when it comes to development. The features that Chrome has might not be exactly up to date with the features that Internet Explorer has with respect to support for some CSS feature or some JavaScript feature. Okay, so knowing this, we wanna particularly in the case of CSS, which is, slide this tab over here, slide this tab over here. This is gonna be the next focus that we're gonna move on to. But before knowing this, we have to understand this important thing, this notion I'm telling you guys, that there's all these different browsers, all these different devices. Mobile is a big arena, okay? So what we want to do is, if we know that the playing field of mobile is uneven, we want to level that playing field, okay? And in the interest of saving time and not making this a 10-hour tutorial, I'm going to abstract away how I do that, okay? And the way that I abstract that is by using a tool called NPM. NPM is the Node Package Manager. It's basically, in a nutshell, it's a little tool that, with my terminal, with the power of commands in the terminal, I can go ahead and I can fetch different packages. Not just JavaScript packages, but also packages that pertain to the technology that I need to utilize to level the playing field across all the browsers, which is CSS. Alright? This is what's going to make the app look pretty, guys. This is what's going to make all these components look pretty, guys. This is what makes this red. This is what makes this white. This is what makes this little border here round. Okay? And initially, I want to make sure that what I start writing from here down, I want to make sure that I give it the most fair opportunity possible to compete across all the browsers. Okay, I want this code to behave as best as it can across all the browsers. And we're going to use this tool to help us do that. We're going to go in here. We're going to say, of course, this is after you've installed a software known as Node, okay, that you would have access to this tool called NPM, right? So we're going to use NPM, the Node Package Manager. We're going to use it to pull a package. Now, I'm going to install a package called CSS Reset. Okay? Now, what all this fancy stuff is doing right now, what it's what it's articulating to me is that there's a package that was downloaded. Okay. Now I ran a command. I did npm I, which is short for install, and then I named something, right? Some package, right? I ran that command. I'm still in the project root. Now I'm gonna see what happened. I'm gonna inspect the project root. I'm gonna list everything in there, and what I see is that I have a new folder in there. It's called node modules. When I go into node modules, I have that thing that I requested, that package, CSS reset. Okay, let's look at it in the inspector here, and I'm sorry, in the code editor. See here we have the node modules directory. Okay, inside of here we have CSS reset. What's inside of here? Let's see. We have a bunch of folders, docs, another folder called test. Maybe it tests what this thing does. We have history. Okay, we have a readme. Let's read that. Okay. CSS reset. Cool. Super descriptive. Some are better than others guys, but anyways, this is what we want in here. Look at that. Reset.css. Alright. So, how do I get this? How do I grab this file that's in this thing? How do I bring that over to this? Well, we're gonna use another element, guys. This element is called the link tag, and this element has some attributes that my shortcuts skip over these attributes. I'm gonna talk about them despite not typing them, so you guys get a better idea of what their purpose is. Alright, so the link tag is probably gonna link a file in this document somehow. Alright, and the type of file that I'm linking is a text/CSS file, so it's probably a CSS file that I want to get. And based on this thing that I downloaded just now, it's probably this CSS file right here called reset. Alright, I want to get that first. Alright, that's important. The thing that we link here is gonna come in terms of order preference. It's gonna be loaded first. This thing, by the way, guys, this is a comment. This won't get processed by the browser. This thing gets downloaded first. Gets fetched first into the page. Alright, the style sheet. So let's go ahead, let's navigate to that style sheet. Let's grab that style sheet. Alright, and now just for the purposes of testing, I'm gonna come in here and I'm gonna say that I want everything inside of the HTML to be red. Alright, this is gonna, if I reload the page here, and all these things that are inside the HTML element have a rule that's defined in this CSS style sheet to be of the color red, if this is connected to this, then this will probably turn red. So let's see if my hypothesis is true. Alright, so we save that, made sure, Control S. Alright, got the link tag, it's a style sheet, type CSS, and it's linking to node modules, and inside of node modules is getting CSS reset folder, and inside of that folder is grabbing the file. Okay, let's refresh, guys. And alright, so my hypothesis was incorrect. However, I think I know why. I'm going to explain to you guys why that was wrong, because this is an opportunity to learn, because why I was wrong. See, despite me putting in here color red, despite me doing that, alright, in CSS there's precedence. So much like how in HTML the order of these things matter, in CSS the order of these rules matter as well. Okay? And it matters in a different direction. Alright? In CSS, the last thing you wrote is the newest rule that will be applied to the document. Okay? But not only that. Alright? The order in which you write, you target your elements, and the selectors that you use, which are these things outside of the curly braces, This is a way of saying, hey, get the element, and everything in here is just applying rules. Remember, different. See, we have a background here. We could change the color, the font family. All these rules are being applied to this element here that we're specifying with a selector. In this case, we're using the literal body selector to select the body element. Now, if I wrote this first, right, and everything inside of this has a color red, then I wrote this last, and this is within that, which rule do you think has more precedence? Which one do you think matters more? This one? Or that one? That's why the color wasn't red, guys. A very important topic is that debugging is a process when it comes to programming. You can't lose your patience when you run into something. It happens to me every day in my line of work, but you run into something where you expect the result, and it's easy to get frustrated. It's easy to want to say, like, damn, but I swear I had this figured out. Like, why isn't this working? It's easy to get frustrated, guys. But here's the fact. The computer is dumb, but it's never wrong, okay? The human needs to articulate correctly. That's the art of programming. We need to articulate to this machine that we want these rules to be obeyed, and we want a specific order to be followed when it comes to these rules. Alright, so here we linked the reset package, which basically, if you guys noticed, and I'm going to use this as an example, if I come over here and get rid of that, you see how there's a slight difference? You see how, like, the text gets smaller? Yeah, it's different, but now there's a little more certainty. I have a higher degree of certainty that when I open this page across Internet Explorer, across an iPhone, across a tablet, across Chrome, across Firefox, across Opera, when I open it across any of those platforms, it's probably 99% chance is going to look like that, okay? Now, we could test for this, and we could test till the cows come home, and there's a lot more elaborate functions that are used in these modern applications to make sure of just that the result you expect is the one you really get. But for now, this is good enough. This is how we know that the next code we write is going to give us a result that we better expect and anticipate. And that's the subject of this video, guys. I wanted you to understand why I'm using this dependency, this package management tool and dependency injection tool to grab a specific dependency and apply it to this project, okay? That's the purpose of this video. Now, in the next video, we'll go ahead and use this foundation to continue styling and creating the visual effects of our application, okay? Stay tuned, guys.